Hey YouTube, Untitled Chapter sir, doing another action figure review. Now this is something I haven't really done in maybe a little while. It is yet another Masters of the Universe Origins figure. Now, I've only gotten one figure out of this wave so far. This is the newest, well, at the time of this recording, the newest of the Masters of the Universe Origins figures. And this is for the Evil Horde Trooper. So if I flip around the back of the box, it showcases what you get, well, what you can do with the figure and other figures in this wave. So you have Anti-Eternia He-Man, Clawful, Sunman, which is a kind of a unique character concept. Pixel Dan did a really good video on the origin and backstory for Sunman and how he came to be incorporated into the Masters of the Universe Origins lineup. He's a really cool, interesting figure. I do recommend checking out his video and having a look-see at how he was kind of created. And then you have card art for the top of the box. So you have Horde. I know it's a bit sideways. You have Thunder Punch He-Man from the looks of it, which is a good, clear indicator that we will be getting a Thunder Punch He-Man. And it is him facing off against a whole bunch of Horde troopers and Hordak in the corner. And he is pretty much a, hopefully, dead set that we will be getting a Thunder Punch He-Man at some point down the line. I know the next He-Man figure that's currently on the way is not Thunder Punch. Which one is it? It's the it's the one with the, not blasting caps, because that's Thunder Punch. It's the other one with the bola launcher, kind of flying fists. That's it. Sorry, I completely forgot the name, but Flying Fist He-Man, because his counterpart is Terror Claws Skeletor, and they're doing the two of those. And what also you get with this figure is this comic book. Now, unfortunately, I got mine from Amazon France. Oh, it's not unfortunate, but it is unfortunate in regards the comic, because all the European versions of the comic have none of the speech bubbles, so you can't really, well, you can kind of tell what's going on from the images, but you can't tell what they're saying or anything like that. I know from what I've read from the gist of it, someone was gracious enough to put this, the English version of the, or the version of it with all the speech bubbles up on the old internet. It's basically Skeletor is trying to summon someone to take on He-Man, and accidentally summons Anti-Eternia He-Man, and basically Anti-Eternia He-Man decides to take over Skeletor's castle, and in the process Sunman comes through the same portal and there's a big fight, and you know, Sunman wins the day basically. I think, is even He-Man in regular He-Man? Yeah, regular He-Man is in it with the Horde troopers. And you get actually an interesting shot of Snake Mountain down here on one of the panels. So hopefully it's a good indicator again that we might be getting Snake Mountain at some point. But that's beside the point. So onto the figure itself. I'll just bring in the tape measure. He should stand around 6 inches because he has his legs fully extended. Now these are supposed to be done in the 5.5 inch line, so I think the original figure would have had his legs kind of in a more squat pose. If I can just get them to bend in the right position. Sorry, I'm kind of doing that off screen. So I think the original figure would have been in a more kind of crouched pose, but he looks pretty good standing straight up. So for accessories, he's fairly light on accessories. He comes with this red version of the Horde staff. Now I just blast them through the screen. Here are the two that came with the Horde pack, the Powercon pack, from the recent, was it 2021 Powercon? Yes. So these guys came with different versions of that. So the red one came with the black version, and the black version came with the silver version of the Horde staff. But as you can see, it's exactly the same staff. The only other addition that the PowerCon set came with is the troopers in that. Now, I don't know if they're supposed to be, I'll have to double check the box, but I think one of them is supposed to be like a commander and the other one's supposed to be like an elite trooper or something along those lines, hence the different colors. But they also came with the horde crossbow, whereas the regular horde trooper, if I just move these guys out of the way and hopefully they won't fall over, the regular horde trooper just comes with the staff. Now, I know it would have been kind of cool to get the crossbow with this guy as well, but because the original figure never came with one, they decided to leave it out, which is fair enough. So for articulation wise, he's pretty much on standard, on par with all the other He-Man Masters of the Universe. So you can move the arms can move forward. Now, they do move at an angle because of the way the shoulders are done on the inside, but they do move forward and back. You can sort of rotate them the whole way around, but you have to, well, you can't really actually. You can do it when this armor piece is removed, and I'll show that in a second. But he does have the single joint elbow with a bend and a swivel, and the hand is on, or the wrist is on a swivel with a hinge. And then you have a punching fist for the left hand and a grasp fist for the right. Does have a waist swivel, which is kind of cool. Head is on a ball joint. I really love the heads on these guys, if I bring it really up close. So you have this big V-shaped kind of eyepiece. So you can have the head down a bit, and then you can kind of position it, and it kind of makes it looks like it has eyes, and you can actually kind of make him look like he's squinting, doing different things with his eyes. And it is kind of a mono eye thing, but it does look really cool. His legs can do the splits that much. He can kick forward that much. He can kick back a bit. His legs have a single joint, so you can bend at the legs. Now, I will say my ones are very stiff on this figure, so I'm kind of afraid of breaking them. I probably need to heat them up a bit more just to loosen them up. They do swivel as well, so just be wary that when you are bending them, you could be in the wrong position and you might possibly snap that peg. He does have boot cuff swivel, and then he has kind of a, not a rocker, but a forward and back hinge on the foot, and you can kind of swivel it side to side as well. So you do have that. And then he does have an action feature gimmick. So he has this big red horde symbol on the front, and if you push it, it springs open his chest. His head, you can see, is on that ball joint. You can pop the head off. You can actually pop the arms out of their socket. What's cool about this is when you do have this part open, it actually, he has extra articulation on that section as well. So you can actually move his body forward and backwards, which you can't really do when the armor piece is in place. He can swing those arms pretty much around when that armor piece is out of the way, because when it's in place, this big shoulder pad gets in the way. But you just pop it closed and he's pretty much ready to go. The idea is you're supposed to have He-Man or one of the heroes punch him, She-Ra or He-Man, whoever you want. And you, even Ram-Man might do. Actually, we don't have Ram-Man to the side. I was going to check if we could use Ram-Man's spring thing to see if it would work. But the other cool thing is you can actually pop this guy off the waist, just like the other figures. You can actually swap, mix and match pieces on this guy, just like any of the other most of the other Masters of the Universe Origins figures. There is some exceptions, as I said previously mentioned. Ram-Man, you can only really pop his arms and head off. You can't really do anything with the legs, but you can swap bits and bobs around and have a kind of unique figure. What is cool is if you have He-Man, you can actually pop this guy's head off and put the He-Man head on the ball peg, and you can have that kind of disguised He-Man look figure from when from the, was it the Power of the Sword, was it? The movie that they did, the animated movie where you find She-Ra for the first time. I think it was either Adam or He-Man disguises himself as a horde trooper. So you can kind of recreate that, which is kind of cool. And I don't think Hordak's head would fit on it, so you can't do that kind of classic Hordak style armor. You'd have to shave off all this neck area, I'd imagine, to get Hordak's head to fit on that. But you could, if you are willing to do that and customize, you could shaved down all this neck piece and put Hordak's head on it for that scene when he kidnaps was it Adora when she's a baby. He had like more Horde armor on than the armor that he currently kind of wore in the rest of the series. So there is that. But overall, they're really good figures. Now, I know a lot of people are trying to get their hands on these guys because they want to army build them, and I am no exception. If I can, I'll probably get another 1 or 2 of these guys just to have an extra one. I do have the, as I said, I do have the Paracon versions, which are exactly the same, even right down to the gimmick. They have the exact same gimmick. The joints on mine are a little bit looser, I will say that, as in they're not so tight that they feel like the peg is going to snap when I move the knees. But that's depending on which, you know, that's just depending on if you're lucky enough to get a figure that doesn't have very tight joints. So mileage may vary on those sort of figures. Overall, I do think they look really cool. You could probably take the white crossbow that came with this set for Hordak and give it to this guy. Just give him a Horde crossbow as well if you wanted to. Just so he'd have something, an extra crossbow. But if I just pop his weapon into his hand, it does fit. It does tend to like to pop out every now and again. It does that on nearly all of them. So you can get them to fit the thing. What would have been nice as well, if they had incorporated it or added it, is to have a grip hand for the left hand. I know the original figure never had one, but it would have been cool to have one, because then you could have a two-handed grip. Because normally in the cartoon series, you see them holding like a staff type laser weapon or an energy weapon, and they'd be holding it two-handed. So it would have been kind of cool to have that kind of option as well. You can sort of do it with the figure. You can kind of fake it a bit, so it looks like, oops, I said it does like to pop out. You can fake it a bit so it looks like he's holding it as a sort of energy blast weapon, more than just a staff for clubbing things. So there is that. So overall, really cool figure, a great looking army builder. I know the original figure was a little bit more grey, whitish than this kind of silver that they've done. This this figure in. So you can just get into his hand a little bit better. It'll probably pop out again. But like it has this kind of, what is it? Kind of swirling, plastic swirling on it. Some people mightn't like that. I mean, the other two figures are just plain, straight plain color, so you don't get the swirling as much, or you don't see it as much as you do on the silver. But overall, really good figure, and hopefully they might reuse this mold again for maybe another color variation, which would be kind of cool, or a new version of the figure, maybe some sort of, I don't know, aqua type, aquatic based version of it with different stuff on it, which would be kind of cool. But overall, really good figure, and as I say, I hope you enjoyed this video review, and I hope you found it interesting and enjoyable, and please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.